up, brawlers, bladers, and fellow awesome nerds? It is I, Baku Dad, one half of the Baku Boys, and if this is your first time to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also, please be sure to drop us a comment and check out our other projects in the description below, as we do try and release weekly Bakugan, Beyblade, and other awesome nerdy content every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into what I've got in store for you guys for this video. So today is Wednesday, November 9th, and small announcement just for this week and next week. Unfortunately, last week I fell under the weather quite severely. It wasn't, well, not quite severely. I actually fell under the weather. It was not anything too crazy. I just had a very low-end fever that kicked my butt for a few days and was not a very fun ride. And I recovered over the weekend. Well, by the time I'm recording this, as you all know, everything's already been pre-recorded in advance. I'm recording this on the weekend, but when you guys see it, today will be Wednesday, November 9th. But unfortunately, I was not able to get Baku Kid over this past weekend, so him and I were not able to work on recording anything together like we had originally planned. So, with that being said, we are actually going to jump to what I am calling Baku Dad's Plan B, and Baku Kid actually gave me the green light on it. So, what I am going to be doing for this week, we are actually going to be doing a super fun themed week for this week, and we are going to be delving, we've actually done it previously on some Friday Night Fights where I sat down and did some solo board gaming. So this week is actually going to be dedicated to tabletop games that you can play by yourself. So a solo board gaming week. And to kick things off for solo board gaming week, I actually pulled out a game that I have played a couple times. It's quite fun, and it is a small, easy carry around game. I mean, there is a tiny bit of setup, but not too much. But it is One Deck Dungeon by Chris Cieslak and published by Asmodee Games. It is a 1 to 2 player game for 14 and up, and it takes about 30 minutes to play. And honestly, when it comes to age, Baku Kid and I, we've never really paid attention to that too much. If it's a game that him and I both like, he's actually played games that have been a little more advanced for him. He's played Magic the Gathering, he's played Zombie World Order, and those games are already for 13 and up. And he's played a couple other board games that are like a little bit more advanced for him, but he loves getting his hands into new games and trying stuff out. And I like exploring stuff too. And in One Deck Dungeon, you pretty much take on the role of an adventurer. You're exploring a dungeon, fighting monsters, and you know what? I'm not going to really talk that much more, because what we are going to do is we are going to jump straight to the table where we will open up this and check out everything inside this box, and we will really dig deeper into this One Deck Dungeon. See you guys at the table in just a moment. Yo! And welcome back to the table, where we are here to check out One Deck Dungeon here on Solo Board Gaming Week with the Baku Boys. Or at least me, Baku Dad, one half of the Baku Boys. So, here is the instruction book, or they call it the Adventurer's Guide, but it's all the rules you need. Very well illustrated. The rules are really easy to read, and it's not that big of a rule book. I actually like it when games don't have massive rule books. Sometimes having a massive rule book is needed, but not always. And then here's turn reference card. And then here are all the characters. Oh, my cat accidentally fell down. Are you all right, Evie? Yeah, she's fine. Here is a character sheet for campaign mode, and that's actually when you do solo play. And then here are the 5 different characters that come in the game. You get a warrior, mage, rogue, archer, and paladin, each with different stats and abilities. And then this is why the game is called One Deck Dungeon. Because everything consists within one deck. So I'm not really going to go into too much because there's a lot of other channels that have kind of delved more into the rules and everything else. But before you start playing, you pick a boss, an end boss. Each have a different difficulty and power setting. And then other cards. This is your level indicator to show what level you're at or what level of experience your character is at. But the reason why it is called One Deck Dungeon, like I said, this is the dungeon that you go through. You shuffle this up, and this whole deck is loaded with traps and monsters that you will encounter along the way. And getting past all the traps and monsters grants you loot. So here's a trap. Here's a monster. You can see that these add additional stats. This gives you experience. This gives you abilities. You get potions. And the other thing I like about this game is you use dice. So all these different colored dice correspond to all these different skills you have. So the warrior would be able to fight with 4 yellow dice, 2 pink dice, and 1 blue dice. So strength, agility, and magic. And then they all have their hit points. So if you take as much damage, if you take 6 damage, the warrior dies, and then the game is over. It's a little bit of press your luck, but you get to build yourself up as you go, because you have to dive through this deck or go through the dungeon, because you start off with the stairs down here, all the way at the bottom after you've shuffled. You go ahead and go through the dungeon, and then when you get here, you get to go to the next floor. Clear three floors, fight a boss, and if you survive, it's a complete dungeon run. And I like this game a lot because sitting down, it's a lot of fun, because you get to experience kind of like going on a little mini adventure. So let's see, without getting too far into rules and everything, because like I said, there's a lot of other channels that have covered this in more detail than I will. But let's say we wanted to pick our boss as the dragon, and he's actually the dragon is actually one of the easiest ones. These little stars right next to the names tell you the difficulty. Dragon's a 1, Hydra and the Yeti are a 2, Lich and a Minotaur are 3. So the Dragon's Cave is actually really easy. So let's see. I'll kind of have a demo set up real quick. So here's the first floor of the dungeon. Like I said, you've got this shuffled up and this right here. And when you play, I'll actually be playing this on Friday Night Fights this week, so you'll actually really get to see it a little bit more in action. But we'll use the warrior. And then what you do is at the start of each turn, you spend time, and that means you flip cards from the top of this deck into a separate discard pile, which speeds up how quick you get to the stairs. And then you have the option to explore or enter a room. And on your first turn, you pretty much have to explore. So you would go ahead and fill this whole area with rooms, and then your turn would be over. And then on your next turn, you'd spend time again, and then you'd go ahead and be like, all right, now let's go ahead and enter a room. So right here you encounter a trap, a force wall. So let's see. You get 4 of those, 2 of those, and 1 of those. And now you can choose to either encounter this Oh yeah, there was also this, the Hall of Statues, but we're not going to really get into that too much. So you can either encounter it, or you can choose not to. But if you choose not to, the next time you would go into that, you would have to encounter it and not back out. So let's say, oh, there's another trap. Okay, so let's say we wanted to face the Phantom right here. On traps, you have to make a decision whether you want to go for this, whether you want to do this or this. And then you only roll the dice corresponding to that. But you also have to fill up this as well. And the mechanics for this game, when I go ahead and play this on Friday Night Fights, it'll be a little bit more clear when I actually go into it. But you roll the dice, and then you go ahead and start making sure you match your colored dice to these. So for here, let's say, okay, so got to fill that in first. Got to fill the ones in with shields. And then matching as many of these as possible. And then, yeah, that's how you do it. You go ahead and the numbers that you put on to these have to match or be higher than the numbers so you can actually get past it. And then whatever numbers you don't have covered up with dice, you have to suffer the consequences. So there will be hearts. Hearts, you actually take damage on your character. And then the little timesheet, the little time symbols, you actually spend time in the dungeon, which speeds through the deck even more. But that is actually going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys did enjoy me kind of giving you a brief showcasing of this one deck dungeon game. I will be playing this in a better game on Friday for Friday Night Fights, so please make sure you stick around for that because that is going to be super fun. Cannot wait to show you guys how this game actually works out in a full playthrough. But if you did, go ahead and like and subscribe if you have not already. Also check out all the other things we do in the description below with our coffee and my Twitch. I have been playing Evil Within still. I've been working on beating it. So please check that out. It's been a lot of fun. And when I am done with that game, it will be fun to show you guys what I have in store for the next game that will be played on Twitch. But until next video, I am Baku Dad signing out, one half of the Baku Boys. And always remember to Bakugan Brawl, let it rip, and stay awesome and nerdy. Peace out, guys.
We'll be right back.